time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
What a freaking weekend. Was that Rihanna? How the hell are you saying her name? Cheers to the freaking weekend. That's how I feel about sports. I feel like that Guru drop where he's just like, sports, man. That's how I'm feeling. That was an incredible weekend. And we can pick up and go anywhere you want.
Sports, man.
Exactly. I mean, it all culminated last night. The Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota freaking Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, young, dumb, doesn't know any better, hitting a dagger 3 late in that game. Karl Anthony Towns rising to the occasion. Rudy Gobert. Yes. The Stifle Tower hitting fadeaway step-back jump shots. And Naz Reid. My goodness. The T-Wolves knock out the defending champion Denver Nuggets 98-90. It'll be Minnesota v. Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. And on the other side, it's the Celtics. We knew that. But the Indiana Pacers just tapping that ass of the New York Knickerbockers out in NYC. Bing bong, night night to them. I'm not going to hear the Tom Thibodeau slander today, though. I'm not hearing it. See, Spadoni, they were gassed. This is what Tibbs does. Tom Thibodeau maximized that roster. I mean, maybe they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe. But come on. Let's be realistic. They were gassed because he needed to squeeze each and every morsel out of all of those players. Out of DiVincenzo, who had a career year. Out of Jalen Brunson, who, yes, was an MVP candidate this year. Out of everyone. OG was compromised. Josh Hart. A lot of heart. But you know what? Sometimes the other team, it was just their night. And did I see that right? I think the Indiana Pacers had an NBA playoff record of field goal percentage. They shot like 65% from the field for the entire game. Like, sometimes it's just not your night. And I'm sure Reggie Miller was loving every single second of it. The amount of memes I saw with the choke job, with everything. It was an incredible weekend. In basketball, in baseball, if you're a Giants fan, A's, back to reality a little bit. What, 8 or 9 game losing streak now? It's okay. We don't want to talk about that. Focus on the positive here, and that's the San Francisco Giants. Sweeping the red-hot Colorado Rockies. Well, they were red-hot. 4-1 yesterday. Jordan Hicks, bubble guts, no problem. Guy was throwing up his lunch before the game. Still goes 5 innings, allows 3 hits, 1 earned run, gets a strikeout, and 1 walk. So gutsy, get it, effort there for Jordan Hicks. Camilo Doval shuts it down, gets the save, and all of a sudden, heading into Pittsburgh, Giants are 23-25, 15-10 at home. The young guys getting it done. Luis Matos, we were all crushing him for his center field last week. Well, he's made some incredible plays. He's made some assists. He's hit the ball. Elliot Ramos. Is it Elliot, Sam? Let me get this correct. Elliot Ramos? Okay. We strive for excellence here on the pregame show. Getting names right. Lord knows I butcher too many and the station butchers too many. So if you want to do a posthumous Doobie Award for me, mispronouncing, see, I did it again. Mispronouncing any names. I mispronounced the word mispronounce. Elliot Ramos, yesterday, gets the jack, and all of a sudden, this team's just fun to watch. Crazy how a couple of young guys getting called up can be a boost for a team. How long does this last? We'll see. That's been the name of the game under the Farhan era. You bring in these guys, they have red hot starts. Casey Schmidt last year, Patrick Bailey last year. Then what happens? Then they fade. Now, are we going to expect Elliot Ramos and Luis Matos to keep this up? No. But if other guys can start stepping up around them, all of a sudden, wow, wouldn't you know it? You have a team of above average hitters. And that's a beautiful sight. So, great sweep from the Giants this weekend, calming the nerves, calming the waves, if you will, of the Bay Area, heading into a massive series in Pittsburgh. Again, are we going to get Snell v. Skeens, or is it going to be Webb v. Skeens? Either way, the number one pitcher and number one prospect in all of baseball, I should say, not number one pitcher, that's Shota Imanaga, by the way, of the Chicago Cubs. Guy's a sub-1 ERA. As a rookie, unbelievable. But Skeens is also unbelievable. Guy should have been taking a no-hitter. Hell, it might have been a perfect game through the fifth, but show in Chicago on Friday is what it is. Nonetheless, that guy, again, I'm just talking about the weekend of sports. If we're considering the Friday afternoon game, the weekend, which I am, it's been incredible. Oh, by the way, we had a championship bout, a heavyweight championship bout as Tyson Fury, yes, that Tyson Fury that should have lost to Francis Ngannou, the MMA fighter who got his bell rung and got knocked out against, it was Anthony Joshua, just, a month or two ago? But Tyson Fury out in Saudi Arabia taking on Alexander Usyk. Is it Alexander? It's with an O, so is it Alexander? Tomato. Again, mispronunciation sensation. Tyson Fury suffered a split decision points defeat on a dramatic night in Saudi Arabia as Usyk became boxing's first four-belt undisputed heavyweight champion. So you go there. Talk boxing if you want. Or you can go PGA Championship, where Xander freaking Schauffele gets the monkey off of his back. He had, I want to say second or first most top 10 finishes. I believe it was the second most top 10 finishes in a major without winning one. Ricky Fowler still has that honor. I think Lee Westwood and Luke Donald are among the others. But Xander Schauffele, with a final round of 6 under in a 4-day total of minus 21 under par. That's a record as well. Edging out Bryson DeChambeau, who put on a hell of a final round as well, shooting 7 under par. But an American gets the job done, and Xander Schauffele gets his first ever career major. So just all in all, a fantastic week of sports. What do we want to start with? What do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about the Giants? We'll get to the Giants. I do want to start this show off today talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they were down 20 points yesterday. 20. And by the Minnesota Timberwolves coming back and winning that game in the fashion they did, outscoring Denver 28-14 in the third and 32-23 in the fourth, knocking out the defending champs, now hosting the Western Conference Finals against the Luka-led and Kyrie-led Dallas Mavericks. That has now ensured for the 6th straight season, the NBA will have a 6th different, or new, you should say, champion. So no repeats the last 6 years. We just go back to 2019 when you had the Raptors, then you got the Lakers, then you got Bucks, then you had Warriors and the Nuggets last year. Now it's going to be someone else. Whether that's T-Wolves, whether that's the Mavericks, whether that's the Celtics, or whether that's the Pacers. And I guess at 888-957-9570, and good morning to all you lovely people. Man, that was a lay almost 10 after. I didn't say good morning to anyone. Excuse me. Where are my manners? Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for the week, school, whatever. You're traveling. You're already up. You're working across the nation, across this beautiful nation of ours. Or if you're international, watching me via Twitch or YouTube or Twitter, follow me at Spadoni _Joe. Give me a follow. I would like it. follow you back. We are streaming, and it's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. My question to all of you people are we enjoying the parity of the NBA? I know that's what we think we like. We like to think, oh, it's someone new. Oh, we don't have to see LeBron. Oh, we don't have to see Stephen Curry. And I get it, that might not be the one you want to hear from, but outside of our little Bay Area bubble, that's what people are saying. Oh, we don't have to see, Michael Jordan or Kobe or any of these players or Tim Duncan, the Spurs. We don't have to see any of those teams and those. It's too much. They've won too much. Let's get some new blood. Well, for the 6th straight season, we're going to get quote unquote new blood. Now, some of those Celtics have obviously won a title before. Mavericks have won a title. Pacers and T-Wolves being the first to do that. I don't think anyone expects Indiana Pacers to get through that series, but I don't think anyone expected the Pacers to get through the Knicks either. I gave them a shot. I mean, what did the Knicks earn? Please. People are saying the Knicks were going to knock out the Celtics? Come on. It's the Knicks. Sorry, Knicks fans, if you're hurting this morning. Trust me. Misery does love company. But just watching these playoffs, and I love Anthony Edwards. And I love, individually, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. At times, they're dynamic to watch. Luka, incredible. Kyrie, Tyrese Halliburton. The individual talent is, without a doubt, some of the deepest we've ever seen. And at such a young age, too. But because of that, because we're seeing the depth of these teams, the quality of these teams, of the young Timberwolves, hell, even the Nuggets, the Thunder, who got ousted against the Dallas Mavericks, all these teams, it's going to be very difficult to repeat and have a quote-unquote dynasty, and we'll get to that word a little bit later, because Michael Malone was using that word a lot after winning the title last year, and he kind of doubled down on thinking his team still could be a dynasty. I got some thoughts on that, and head coach of the Denver Nuggets, Michael Malone, talking about that after the game and after the Nuggets lost 98-90 last night and got bounced from the Western Conference playoffs. But I'm just thinking, do we need to have a dynasty again? Are we sorely missing a dynasty in this league? Because as much as I want to think that parity is good, I really think you need a villain. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs are a villain right now in the NFL. I do. I think the Miami Heat were villains. Now, was that a dynasty? Was that a run? I know it's semantics here. Some people think you have to win 3 titles for it to be a dynasty. If you go to 4 straight finals, win 2 of them, it's kind of close. Is that a nice run? We'll see. But if you want to go the Warriors, Stephen Curry's awesome, amazing, top 10 player of all time. How could we hate a guy like that? Nice family man, has a great smile, presidential in how he acts and behaves. But even he turned into a villain because they won so much. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, not really Clay, but those 3, because they won so much. People were quote unquote tired of it, but you kept tuning in because you wanted to see them lose, or you wanted to see them win and be great. Or people hated LeBron James. He was a villain, so you wanted to see him lose, right? Going back to the Spurs. Now, I don't think the Spurs... See, this is why I have a hard time calling them... If you want to call them a dynasty, that's great. They didn't have any successive championship runs, like back-to-back. They were spread out. So it was a nice run. But dynasty, I feel like, is back-to-back or back-to-back-to-back or 4 straight finals appearances, stuff like that. Sustained excellence over a few years. Not to say the Spurs weren't excellent, but they got bounced against the Lakers. They got bounced against the Mavericks at times. They got bounced against the Miami Heat. Who did they lose to that first round? Was that the Grizzlies one year? Back with Zach Zebo and them? They had some down years. But the Denver Nuggets not going back-to-back really has hammered home just how deep this NBA is. And I'm just wondering if the parity is good or not. I want to play some of these plays and highlights, though, because this play right here in the Minnesota Timberwolves game, it almost cost World War III in my household. And I'll explain. But let me play it first.
Hot clock at 5. Edwards, Gordon is there. Backpedals, jab, shot. Slammed in. Reed parachutes in.
So that was Kevin Harlan, TNT. And I saw that play last night. And they got up, I put them up 7 points late in the fourth there. I think 3 minutes to go or whatever. And I just yelled, "Oh my God!" Just as loud as I can. I'm sitting on the couch with the fam. The missus is eating dinner. She's having her sushi or whatever she's eating. And I just yelled that. So much so where Jade, the lovely Jade Spadoni, chokes on her food almost, shouts, "Oh my God, what happened?" She thought something legit. She thought like one of the kids got hurt. Something bad happened. I was like, "Oh, it was just an amazing dunk. Do you want to see it?" She gave me, might have been the most evil look I've ever seen. Think of Scar looking at Mufasa as he's holding on to his paws. Like if it was the same situation, I probably would have fallen to my death too. Because she's like, "Are you serious? After all that, because of a dunk?" It's like, "Yeah, it was an amazing dunk."
Are you serious?
Yes. She wasn't having it. She's very upset with me. It's like, "I'm sorry. I was just emotional about it." She's like, "Please. It's Minnesota freaking Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets." I was like, "It was a great game." She's like, "Shut up." Like, all right. So that almost was a problem. But nonetheless, that putback by Naz freaking Reed. Again, talking about depth and just how deep all of these teams are in the NBA right now, even the ones that got ousted. It's incredible. But I'll say the depth was tested with Minnesota, and they proved to be the more deeper lineup with Denver. We talked about Bruce Brown and the Nuggets missing him this season. They absolutely did. They were stretched thin. But even up 20 points, and I know a lot of Nuggets fans are mad about this because I've been reading on the interwebs and what their fans are most frustrated about. And Nikola Jokic, playing him as much as you did with a 20-point lead and not getting him the rest that he probably needed might have been the nail in the coffin of this team. Now, you can say that. You can. I just thought more people stepped up on the Minnesota Timberwolves than the Denver Nuggets role players. I mean, Aaron Gordon, 4 points, it's not going to cut it. Michael Porter Jr., 3 of 12, 7 points, not going to cut it. Christian Brown, 1 of 3 off the bench, 5 points, no. KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, 2 of 7, 5. It's just not going to cut it. It was a 2-man game yesterday, and Jokic and Murray got theirs, 13 of 28 for the Joker, 34 points, 13 of 27 for Murray, only 4 of 12 from beyond the arc, but still finished with 35 points. But Minnesota's okay with that. Why? Because no one else stepped up in the biggest game. Juxtapose that with Minnesota, Jaden McDaniels, 7 of 10, 23 points. We all laughed at that drop. We all laughed at the McDaniels KD thing. We did. Don't say you didn't. You laughed when you heard Anthony Edwards, as I'm trying to filibuster here, because we have the drop, don't we? I'll find it. But we all laughed when it was, he got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
You know, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
He said that with a straight face. And yesterday, Jay McDaniels played 40 minutes, 7 of 10, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 4 massive offensive rebounds, had a couple steals, had a block. He was everywhere. 23 points yesterday. Rudy Gobert. You know what? Credit where credit is due. This guy has gotten crushed a lot. Some of it deservingly so. And I get it. He's not, looked down upon or looked upon favorably in the Bay Area. Him and Draymond going at it, of course. But he hit a massive shot in a step-back fadeaway yesterday, and that might have been the game. I mean, that's what Anthony Edwards basically said after the game. He's like, once Rudy hit that shot, that fadeaway jump shot, and he was only 3 of 7 from on the field, I put him up 3 or 4, whatever, and midway through the fourth quarter, it was huge. He finished with 13 points, 9 boards. But he had a massive offensive rebound late. And he was 7 of 9 from the free throw line. That was his Achilles heel, is the line. Any big man usually is. Finish it up there. Karl Anthony Towns, another guy we like to crush at times for not showing up in the big moments, showed up. 23 points, 12 boards. It's a double-double. Massive. Mike Conley, the floor general. You know, we talk a lot about certain players like Brock Purdy feeling comfortable and Deebo Samuel's there. He just has a sense of ease. That's what Mike Conley's been for this Minnesota Timberwolves squad. They're just constructed beautifully, and they were constructed to beat the Denver Nuggets. And Mike Conley was that veteran piece that links all of these guys together. And Anthony Edwards talks about it. It seems not the same without him. And Mike Conley, on a bum Achilles, went out there and did this. It was incredible.
Biggest lead is 7. It's stolen by Conley. He pickpockets Murray. He gets it off to Reed. Corner, Edwards, aim, shoots, score! Timeout!
36-year-old Mike Conley in the altitude in Game 7. He is gassed. You know what? That steal right there and that transition 3 was the game. And 4 years ago, Mike Conley missed a buzzer beater versus the Denver Nuggets in a Game 7. And that's some sweet redemption for him. Getting the steal against the young, cocky, brash, defending champions, and specifically Jamal Murray, and feeding it to your franchise player and the future face of the NBA. I've been saying it all season. I'm saying it now. Anthony Edwards, the time is now for him to take over everything. You beat Joker, let's see you beat Luka now and Kyrie. And if you do that, let's see you do it over Brown and Tatum. Sorry, Indiana. Do I think you guys can beat the Celtics? Well, the Celtics have been known to wet the bed. I don't see it happening this year. I think the Celtics are still going to win the title if I had to bet. But right now, the Minnesota Timberwolves are the talk of the town. From the Xfinity mobile text line, 888-957-9570, we're talking parity in the NBA right now. If it's a good thing, do we need a team to kind of, go on a run here, win a couple of them, or are you enjoying it? Again, this is going to be the 6th straight season. There's going to be a new or a different, I should say. It's weird to say new. I keep hearing that because a new champion makes it feel like, oh, they've never won before. But the Warriors had won before. The Lakers had won before. Some of those teams have won before. Milwaukee had won a title before. But we say new because the previous 5 seasons, it was a different champion every single one. And we're going to have a 6th one now. And is that good? I'm not sure. But I'm enjoying the playoffs right now. I wonder if the ratings people will be. I wonder if Adam Silver will be enjoying that his New York Knicks are out. I don't think the Denver Nuggets were registering nationally. I'd like to think Ant-Man and Anthony Edwards is, right? I mean, how can you not like that guy? Talking about brash and cocky and confident. That was him. And he talks the talk and he backs it up. It was not a great shooting performance from him last night. 6 of 24, 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. 16 points, 8 boards, 7 assists. But those assist numbers were incredible. For him, that is the mark of a champion right there. He's not a champion yet, but that is a champion mindset. When your stuff's not hitting in Game 7 in a do or die, what do? You elevate others around you when they're playing well. When McDaniels is playing well. When Karl Anthony Towns. When Mike Conley. When Naz Reid, haven't mentioned his name enough, off the bench is playing well. And they were tight yesterday. They went 7-man rotation. Hell, Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, it wasn't working. You're going to play 4 minutes. This isn't your game. And that's okay. No hard feelings in a Game 7. You got to have everyone buying in. And he bought in. Kyle Anderson, I'm sure, will have moments against the Dallas Mavericks. It's always matchup dependent. Right? Kind of looking back at the play-in with the Warriors and the Kings, right? It wasn't Trace Jackson Davis's game. Sometimes it just happens like that early. Then you go guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. 0 points. Wasn't his greatest game. Played 17 minutes, but you know what? Even in a down game for him, it's going to be invaluable minutes heading to this next series. Again, the Minnesota Timberwolves knocking out the defending champion Denver Nuggets 98-90. Bye-bye, Denver. 888-957-9570. From the Xfinity mobile text line, are we getting a lot of Bronny questions still? We are. What's Bronny going to do? Where's Bronny going to go? That's, again, we're talking about being tired of certain players, like LeBron James being one of them. You're going to miss him when he's gone. You're going to miss Stephen Curry when he's gone. I know the league is, and I know Adam Silver is. Why do we got to be talking about him? Why do we got to be talking about this? Well, because they've been ratings darlings for years and years and decades and decades. And maybe, just maybe, Anthony Edwards can be that. But he's going to have to win it all this year. Are the Celtics going to be ratings darlings with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? We'll see. We'll see. They have to win it all. Luka, Kyrie, it's a great tandem. Tyrese Halliburton, okay. I think that's the worst case scenario for the league, ratings-wise. Again, I'm not crapping on any Indiana Pacers fans that are listening. I do like to look at it from a league perspective, though, and how they are feeling at 5:26 a.m. Pacific time, May 20th, 2024, the year of our Lord. I'm very curious. You got Minnesota as a market in there for basketball. Again, this is not the same as football. This is not the same. When you look at media markets between different sports, things change. I know you like to say top 5 market, Bay Area is a top 5 market and stuff like that, but you got to look at it in your given sport. The 49ers, yes, they are a box office bonanza when it comes to ratings. The Golden State Warriors, same thing. Specifically Stephen Curry. That's what I'm going to use on this. Stephen Curry is box office. LeBron James was box office wherever he went. Cleveland, Miami, LA. Doesn't matter the market size. And those all fluctuated right there, as I just said. But for the NBA, where I think it is a little bit more regional, we have to think it's national to an extent, but I think it's more regional than we give it credit for. Not to the level of baseball. But I saw a lot of Howard Stern. David Stern, the late David Stern means of obviously the former commissioner of the NBA, of him choking on his water when he saw Minnesota, Dallas, Boston, Indiana as the last 4 media markets in this. It's all right. You got some young faces there to attach to. All right. It's not going to be Indiana versus Boston. It's not going to be Minnesota versus Dallas. It's going to be Anthony Edwards versus Luka Doncic, Karl Anthony Towns versus Kyrie Irving. It's going to be Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, Nembhard, all those guys versus Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, all of them. And it's going to be me talking to you on the other side. 888-957-957. It's the pregame show with Joe Spadoni. We'll get into what the Giants did over the weekend and all that panic, all that doom and gloom. Is it all gone already? Well, not quite, but I think the Giants did a good job of calming the waters down here in the Bay Area. We'll get into that on the other side. Plus, just a wild weekend in sports. I want to get your thoughts on that. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, as we roll on 95.7 The Game.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those
95.7 The Game.
For me, being here 9 years, I've seen everything and seen it all, and it's just damn, right? But this year, to be in here, and this year, these guys, this team, after all that, it just is super special.
It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. T-Wolves, 98, Nuggets, 90. It's going to be the 6th straight season now in the NBA where we have a different champion. And Sammy was looking into this, the producer Sam Lubman, and also host of Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys. Check out the latest pod wherever you find your podcast. Doing a hell of a job alongside Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast, who will be joining Bonte Hill here in about 25 minutes. But in the meantime, 888-957-9570. Your thoughts on this crazy sports weekend? Again, we got Tyson Fury going down to Usyk. We got Xander Schauffele getting the monkey off his back, winning his first golf major, taking the PGA Championship. By the way, Scottie Scheffler still finishing top 10 after getting arrested on Friday morning. It was incredible. That feels like forever ago. That was just on Friday. You had the Giants winning their 4th straight, taking care of business against the Red Hot Rockies, who are now cooled down. They're just cold stone. I'm talking about the Creamery. And then the NBA playoffs. We had a dud of a Game 7 in New York where they just got absolutely boat raced by Indiana, who just shot a record from the field, 65%, something ridiculous like that. Incredible. And now we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves because they did what not a lot of people thought heading into this series. They went the distance with the champs. And their stars stepped up, and their role players stepped up when they needed to. Denver did that last year, but they couldn't replicate it this year. Why? I think it's easy to say one guy and one guy only right now that they missed yesterday. That was Bruce Brown. It doesn't always culminate to that, but you know what? In the Eastern or the Western Conference Finals, either conference finals, in the semifinals, or in the first round, you're going to get tested. Your depth is going to get tested. And you had enough, if you're the Nuggets, going up against the Lakers, who did not have great depth, who did not have great defense, and had, you know what? An older star player in LeBron James to take advantage of on the defensive end. But you're not going to do that against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're just not. Jaden McDaniels, long, athletic, strong. Rudy Gobert, long, athletic. Karl Anthony Towns, you know what? We like to say he's a stiff on defense. I thought he had a great game last night. Still had his usual dumb fouler, too. He's good for a couple of those every game. Mike Conley at 36. Again, didn't look 36.
Biggest lead is 7. It's stolen by Conley. He pickpockets Murray. He gets it off to Reed. Corner, Edwards, and shoots. Timeout.
Again, Kevin Harlan on the call there. TNT. God, I love Kevin Harlan on the call. That's another guy. We're talking about all this and the NBC potentially taking, inside the NBA, and it's taking all the media coverage over to their network and stuff like that. And Turner Sports, TNT as we call it, is going to lose out. Kevin Harlan. I need that guy on my airwaves come playoff basketball. And I love Mike Breen. And ABC, I think, still wrapped up. They still have their championship series, the NBA Finals, but not hearing that guy calling Western Conference games. Think of all the big shots that Stephen Curry's had, and he's been able to call it. Damn. That would suck. Who even would be on the NBC calls? I'm trying to think of that right now. Be like Tirico? I like Tirico. He had the Baron Davis dunk alongside Hubie Brown. Hello. Okay. I'm not mad at that. Who else? That's what I'm interested in. 888-957-9570 if you have some ideas there. But just reflecting on this past weekend in sports, and Sam Lubman, I think I teased it and I never paid it off. Sam was looking into the fact that there's been 6 straight different champions now. There's going to be 6 straight different champions in the NBA. This is the longest stretch. And we got to look into it, but I believe this is the longest stretch in NBA history where we've gone without a repeating champion, which is nuts. But that just speaks to the lack of parity, true parity, and the NBA. And now that we got it, basketball fans, are we happy with it? I know the league, and I know people pretended to be angry with the Warriors. Oh, this isn't good for basketball. Oh, they got KD. Oh, this just isn't fair. Why are we even watching? We just need to simulate to the end of the season. Regular season's boring now. You watched. You liar. You watched. You couldn't stop watching. Were the Warriors, is LeBron going to do it? Is he going to do it? No, but you watched. Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry and Draymond and Clay put the world on notice and just put together one of the greatest teams and one of the greatest dynasties we have ever seen. One of the greatest runs we have ever seen in the history of the sport. One of the greatest teams we've ever seen. You watched it. You wanted to see how it ended. How many people are going to be watching if it's Dallas versus Indiana? Not markets that are known for basketball. Although Indiana, I know, they have a rich history of it, but the Pacers specifically do not. They got to one finals appearance and got their bell rung against Shaq and Kobe. Which, you know what? There's no shame in that. 888-957-9570. Parity? Good for the league? Bad for the league? We'll see. We like to think it's good for the league. NFL's different. I've been saying that. NFL's a cash cow. It could be Jacksonville versus Carolina in the Super Bowl next year. And you're damn right. There's going to be storylines galore, and we are all going to be hooked on it. Now, that would be probably the grossest combination I could think of when it comes to 2 Super Bowl teams. If you can think of a grosser matchup, let me know. 888-957-9570. The one Super Bowl matchup that you do not want to watch. Because even then you're saying that, you're watching it. It's the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter. And I get it. One game is different than a series. It's hard to get the casuals' attention. But if they could start selling these players like they're selling them in the NFL, because I think compared to MLB, it's night and day with the NBA. I mean, Luka Doncic, he's a face. Kyrie Irving, he's a face. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards now. Hell, Halliburton, I'm seeing a lot on my screens now. You can sell that. You absolutely can. But I need to see more of that. I need to see the NBA selling more of that. They do a good job on the offseason drama and all the talking and all that sort of stuff. But with these smaller market teams now, smaller market in quotations, can they take that next step and get the casual and their viewers? I just think the Denver Nuggets, too. I'm not going to use the word boring brand of basketball because I do enjoy watching Jamal Murray being clutch when it's not against my team. He is a fun player to watch. Nikola Jokic, I do think he's ironically fun to watch in a way because he is laboring up and down the court. But that's also because I just love basketball. I don't know how much his game is translating to, again, the casual. We're talking about it. And yes, in these conversations, the casual matters. We're talking about ratings and whatnot. I just don't think they were resonating nationally. I don't. And I think what Anthony Edwards does pre and post game, like the pre and post game talker for the Denver Nuggets was their head coach. Like he was the most exciting player on the floor sometimes, and he was just getting mad at the refs. What's he going to say now? What's he going to say this? By the way, we're going to get to some Michael Malone sound. Yeah, don't call him Mike. Michael Malone sound coming on the other side, as well as some Giants talk. 888-957-9570. But just don't think the Nuggets were hitting nationally as much as the NBA thought they were. But, well, Minnesota and Anthony Edwards. We'll discuss that on the other side. Plus the Giants winning 4 straight, taking care of business, now heading into Pittsburgh. We'll discuss that. Plus all that and more on a crazy weekend in sports on 95.7 The Game.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan.
Joe Spadoni in, pregame show. One more segment before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, the morning roast. Just talking a little Giants out there with Sammy Lubman and Joe Shasky. Just asking about my thoughts on the weekend overall. And I thought, hey, you know what? Let the kids play. And I think we have some shirts that say that. Or it says play the kids, something like that. BreakingT.com. Just search that website. You can find all of our 95.7 The Game merch. We're still working on pregame show stuff. We're workshopping it. I love all your thoughts for the pregamers. And you know what? I would do it. If I had merch on there, I'd buy a bunch. I'd give it away for free. Have people call in. I'd mail it to you. Just start making my own brand here. Why not? Speaking of brands, has anyone's brand been boosted more after that championship from Denver last year as the Denver Nuggets get knocked out of the NBA playoffs? Minnesota 98, Denver Nuggets 90. Has anyone's brand gotten boosted more than Michael Malone's? Not Joker's, not Jamal Murray's, not Michael Porter Jr., not Aaron. Michael Malone. I associate him and Nikola Jokic with the Denver Nuggets. And that's the case sometimes. Sometimes the coach is that outgoing. Sometimes you got Phil Jackson, right? And Kobe. You got Powell there, but it's those two, right? Steve Kerr has a personality, but there was just so many. Draymond, Steph, KD at the time, right? But Michael Malone, he used the word dynasty a lot last year. After winning the title, he used that word. He's like, after the next step is a dynasty this, dynasty that. Well, you got to go back to back, or you got to win or get to a finals, I believe, in at least consecutive years to be considered a dynasty. I don't consider the San Antonio Spurs a dynasty. I don't. I think they had a run. I think they had an excellent run, but I don't think they sustained excellence for a given amount of time that would qualify as a dynasty. Anthony Edwards talking that talk after the game, but Michael Malone, a little more, you know what? Humble, but still uses that word, dynasty, after the game.
Well, we knew it was hard. You know, something I talked to our team about in training camp. You know, I think the last team to do it was the 17-18 Warriors. And with the rules being what they are now, I think it's going to become even harder and harder to repeat as champions. But the one thing I keep on going back to right now is that I consider the San Antonio Spurs a dynasty. And they never won back-to-back. So losing, the hurt of it, the pain of it, it helped us win our first championship. Can we use this year? You know, we tied a franchise record, 57 wins. We went 21-6 out of the All-Star break. We really stepped up. Beat the Lakers in the first round and lost to a very talented Timberwolves team who held the number one seed most of the year to the very end. So it is hard. It is hard. It is hard to repeat. It's hard to win. And we all got to do whatever it takes to not have this film again next year.
Okay. Michael Malone after the game. Denver Nuggets gone. Minnesota Timberwolves taking over. I've already seen it now on Get Up, ESPN on my face. Is Anthony Edwards now the face of the NBA? No, he's not yet, but he has a chance to be that. He's got to finish business, and you guys get to the finals first. I'm not making someone the face of my league if they haven't won a title yet. Can't do it. I know they tried to do that for LeBron for a lot of time, but he wasn't winning. It was the Spurs. It was the Mavericks. It was the Lakers. It's all those other teams winning. LeBron wasn't. But we still wanted to make him the face because he was incredible, individual stats, all that sort of stuff. He was the chosen one. Well, Anthony Edwards has the opportunity, if he goes on a run here, to be that. But, shifting to baseball real quick, as we do the shift, we don't ban the shift here on the pregame show. We embrace it. Elliot Ramos just keeps balling.
Center field, going way back there, and adios! Pelota! Right over the center field wall, and Elliot Ramos makes it 4-1.
Hey, the kids were playing yesterday. Marco Luciano was playing yesterday. He gets a hit. He gets a run. He gets a walk. Ramos goes yard there. John Miller on the call, NBC Sports Bay Area. Adios, pelota. Indeed. Luis Matos. I think I saw that right. Now is the most RBIs on the team. It's unbelievable. Guy's been up like a week. It's incredible. I'm not worried about the center field play. And I'd be remiss to say 55 minutes in here. How dare I do this? Jung-Hoo Lee's out for the year, which we all pretty much thought, but it was confirmed over the weekend. He's going to have surgery on that labrum, shoulder. And that just sucks. That just sucks for him not to be able to get the reps. And it's not going to be like the Giants who are going to go on this deep World Series run. I'm not going to take that away from him. Maybe it's May 20th. Maybe anything could happen. Anything is possible, Kevin Garnett. But no, Jung-Hoo Lee does suck, considering you invested all that money in him all those years. In his rookie season in Major League Baseball, he's going to have to miss it. It's brutal. But with injuries come opportunities for others. And right now, Luis Matos is making the most of his opportunity. Elliot Ramos is making the most of his opportunity. Can Marco Luciano make the most of his opportunity? Hey, Kirk Casale gets traded. Come on over. We don't know what's going on with Patrick Bailey right now. It's concerning. I'm concerned. That head injuries, and there's no such thing as a light head injury. There's no such thing as a minor head. No. There's just head injuries and severe head injuries. And the fact that they had to go out and trade for a guy, now defensively they needed to, because God bless Blake Sable. He's just not that guy. He's a DH player. Maybe he can get better. Maybe. I'm all for that. Hey, Ron Washington turned Marcus Semien into a Gold Glove candidate. So I guess anything could happen, but catching, it's just another beast entirely. And we had Brett Thomas on of the Catching Academy here in the Bay Area last week on the Morning Roast with Joe Shasky, myself, and filling in for Bonte. It's so damn hard. I was just looking into that academy and just all the different stuff that goes into being a catcher. If you're not it by then, by college, by high school, by what, and in the major leagues, you're still trying to get better, I don't see it. I don't. So you had to bring in Kirk Casale, who we know, familiar face. He's Paisan. We like it. But he's no Patrick Bailey. But they needed someone back there, and you know what? Yesterday, hey, Casale got 2 hits. Patting 500, baby. Who am I to talk? So, great weekend series. Can they take this momentum on the road now? They're 15-10 at home. They were hovering around 500, but they won 4 straight. So they're 15-10 at home now. And looking at this road trip coming up for the Giants. Again, you got Paul Skeens on the schedule, who is a baller. Again, number 1 prospect in all of baseball, who just absolutely shoved against the division rival Cubs on Friday in Wrigley Field, his first road start. And he's coming back home, and you're going to be facing him Wednesday? I want to say Wednesday. So, series starts tomorrow. 3-game set there. Then you go to New York, take on the Mets before coming home against the Phillies. So this is going to be a nice test, I think, for this young Giants squad here. Again, can they keep the momentum? We talked about last year, these young guys having a hot start to their months. Casey Schmidt, Patrick Bailey, right? We're seeing it with Matos right now. We're seeing it with Ramos. Can they continue that? Can they sustain that while these other guys get healthy? Getting Blake Snell back for this series against the Pirates. That's great. He's looked sharp in his stints, in his rehab assignments over in Sacramento. So definitely excited to see this team actually playing well and the vibes being well. Like I can't talk about a bad baseball team all season, and nor does anyone want to hear that. So it's refreshing to watch good baseball, fun baseball against a team that was red hot. I know the Rockies, you're going to say Spadoni, come on, it's the Rockies. They were the hottest team in the National League heading into that series. All right? So I'm not going to scoff at that season sweep. I'm not going to scoff at any sweep because that was the first one the Giants have had all season. I'm not going to scoff at the morning roast because that's up next. Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game.